I mean, right here we're standing in front of the entire tone print line of pedals. And we have on the bottom row here, we have 5 digital pedals, and on the top row we have 4 analog drive pedals, and then of course Polytune. So if we take the digital pedals first, and we kind of look at the hardware features of it, they run off 9-volt batteries. They're true bypass. They're actually also optional buffered bypass. There's a little dip switch inside if you're into that. They have what we call analog drive-through, meaning that the drive signal of the guitar passes through the pedal. All analog, even when the pedal is on. So it doesn't change your sound in any way. You get no latency. It's basically the pure guitar tone all the way through, no matter if the pedal is on or off. So we have 5 pedals down here. We have a vibrato pedal, chorus pedal, flanger, delay, and reverb. And all of them have, really, really cool, amazing TC algorithms inside. They sound great. But one of the drawbacks, you can kind of say, to simple pedals like these is the fact that they only have a couple of knobs, so you can't really tweak a lot. It's kind of limited to the sound that we as engineers and sound designers choose. So we figured it'd be nice to actually give our customers the option of getting some different sounds on top of the ones that you get in the pedal. So if you take like the delay pedal, you have regular digital delay, you have analog delay, tape echo, and so on and so on. But there's a lot of different flavors when it comes to that. So what we've done is that we built this special editor that allows you to open up the pedal, all the hidden parameters that are inside, and some of them have more than 100. So you have access to all these parameters. Or actually, not everybody has that, but we invited a lot of really great guitar players, some of the best.
Like who?
Like John Petrucci, like Doug Aldrich, Paul Gilbert. Right now the list is so huge, I can't even remember all of them. We have around 50 different ones, and it's in all different kinds of flavors. So we have metal guys, John Five, with Marilyn Manson. We have Scott Ian of Anthrax. All these different guys. We have shredders. We have jazz guys. No matter what type of, of genre you like, there's a really cool guitar player for you.
Because basically TC Electronic is known for the great delay sounds. So yeah. I really believe that it's a great pedal.
So the idea is that we get these guys to basically design their signature pedal. But we don't do it as a signature pedal, we do it as software that you can load into the pedal. And you can either do that by hooking it up to a computer and then downloading the tone print, as we call it, loading it into the pedal, and that changes everything about how the pedals sound, and it's exactly like the artist would like it to sound. Or you can use an app for that.
I have one question. If you can actually, download the preset, yeah. Can you do the same with just, controlling the knobs? Or
yeah, it's not a preset. It's actually, we call it tone prints because it's actually like a signature pedal. So the artists have access to all the hidden parameters, but they also have access to how the knobs are tapered, so to speak. So let's say we have a chorus from John Petrucci. So he would go, yeah, but I like the speed to be this fast when the knob is here, and I'd like it to be, the maximum speed should be this, and the minimum should be that. So he's kind of tailoring the pedal exactly the way he likes it. So it's not a preset, it's not a fixed setting. It's John designing a pedal, and you can then download his design and put it in the pedal, and it's going to change everything how it sounds. And you can load the tone prints using an iPhone as well. So the way that works is you hook everything up regularly. Guitar into pedals, into amp, and you can play and everything. When you then load the tone print app, let's see if I can get this up and running, you have access to all the different tone prints and all the artists that are in there. So let's pick, this is a little slow, old phone. Let's see here. So we'll just pick a tone print. So I don't know if you know Guthrie Gowan, yeah. Amazing guitar player. So he did a tone print for us. Yeah. So what I'm going to do now, and I can't do this, I don't have a guitar, but you'll get the idea anyway. Okay. I'm going to press this button here, and then hopefully you can hear this. So the sound you're hearing right now is a tone print. Now I'm gonna, if I were playing, I'd hold that up to the guitar pickups, and the magnetic transfer from the speaker of the iPhone is gonna go into the pickup, travel through the cable into the pedal, which is gonna recognize that as a tone print and load that tone print into the pedal. Amazing. So you don't need any special cables, anything like that. It just works.
Right, right.
So that's the tone print pedals, the digital ones. Up here we have 4 analog pedals, and it's kind of like a 4-step rocket, so to speak. So the newest one, which we just released here at Frankfurt, is Spark Booster. So in essence, it's a clean boost. It does 60 dB of boost. 60, that's crazy. 26 dB of boost. 26 dB of boost. But it has a couple of extra tricks up its sleeve. So it also has a gain knob. And the gain knob is not an overdrive per se, it's like a really soft overdrive. So you know, if you have like a clean amp and you crank it all the way up, you don't necessarily get a distorted sound, but you get like nice compression and a little bit of hair to the sound, so to speak. This pedal will do that. So it's not a distortion, it's not an overdrive, it'll just get you that nice feel that you get when you crank up an amp. Of course you have a level knob so you can, you know, boost the signal, so you can push your amp harder or raise the level for a solo. Then you have two active EQ controls, all the pedals have that, so you can crank or attenuate bass and treble independently. And the really nice thing is this little toggle switch here that allows you to select between 3 different boost modes. So in the middle position you have a clean boost, just totally flat response, just raise the signal. Then we have a mid and a fat boost as well. So the mid boost will really kind of push those, you know, mid frequencies where the guitar signal really lives. So it gives you that nice nasal sound and, you know, really cuts through the mix. And then you have a fat setting, which is great for if you have like a Strat guitar. Yeah, so Spark Booster can be seen as kind of like a Swiss Army knife of pedals. It's the kind of thing where it's actually just nice to have it on all the time because it just makes your guitar sound cooler, nicer, and more open. And then we have 3 more steps of drive, you can say. We have Mojo Mojo. It's an overdrive pedal with the same feature. So, you know, active bass and treble controls, drive, of course, and level. And then we have a voicing switch that selects between 2 different... it's basically a bass cut. One of the things I find with overdrives is a lot of times when you step on an overdrive pedal, you lose your low end. You have an amp and you crank it up and you get a nice overdrive. You have this big fat sound and you try to get that from a pedal. It's often it sounds thin compared to that. So that's one of the things we worked really hard on with Mojo Mojo Overdrive is to get that kind of the same bass response as you get with an amp.
And what about its drive range compared to the Spark?
It's way bigger. So you can kind of say that, you know, Mojo Mojo kind of takes off where Spark stops. So at the lower setting you can get an almost clean sound and then it goes into almost distortion. It's quite a lot of gain. And the way it's voiced, it's not a, you know, there's different types of overdrive pedals. So some are, you know, creamy, you know, pretty sounding, lots of sustain and compression. This is the exact opposite. We try to do something that's very raw, very grainy, very open sounding. Kind of like what you get from an old school amp, you know. So more of a Marshall kind of sound as compared to a boogie, smooth type of sound. Right. And the nice thing about it is that it's super dynamic. So if you crank it up and you crank up your guitar, you get this really great raw rock sound. You back down your guitar volume just a little bit and it's going to clean up totally. Right. And it works really nice as a, you know, also for pushing an amp already. So if you have like a nice crunchy amp and you just want to kick it over the top with a bit of overdrive for the solo, this is a great pedal to do that with. Right. So next up we have Dark Matter Distortion. So this is more gain again. Same vein, open, dynamic, raw, and with even more gain, so to speak, but in the same vein. And then last but not least we have the Rottweiler Distortion, which is a metal drive. So this is like, you know, this basically takes off where the Dark Matter stops. This is lots and lots of gain, but really voiced so that you can actually hear it in a mix. I find I've been playing metal for a long time, and you can't tell anymore, but I used to. So one of the things that I found was that when I used a pedal for distortion in the studio and stuff like that, I'd often be disappointed because it sounded great when I was riffing at home, but when you use it in a live situation in the studio, it just disappears altogether. And that's because a lot of those pedals are voiced with absolutely no mid-range at all. And that's why it sounds great when you do all the chugging stuff at home, but you know, that's where the guitar lives. So if you remove all that stuff, it just sounds like a vacuum cleaner in the background with the band playing. So we really tried not to have that happen with this pedal. So it has a lot more mid-range than your typical metal distortion, but still all the gain, so you can get the crazy chugging sounds and stuff. And then it has a voicing switch, which basically allows you to get like a more 80s hard rock, old school metal. Exactly. So think Judas Priest or, you know, 80s hard rock sound in the top position, and then in the bottom position we scoop out the mid, so then you get your, you know, your more modern, chuggy, hollow kind of sound. So over here we have brand new pedal, Polytune Mini. So 2 years ago we announced Polytune, the first polyphonic tuner in the world that allows you to strum all the strings at once and see which strings are out of tune, so it makes tuning a lot easier, a lot faster. And that's been a huge success for us. And we've been kind of looking at the market since then, and one of the things we found was that guitar players in general tend to want to downsize their pedal boards a little bit. So instead of having these huge, giant tables with pedals littered all over the place, they kind of focus in on a couple of select pedals that they want to have. So pedal board real estate is actually something that people care about now. So smaller pedal boards with fewer pedals. And what we figured is that, if pedal board real estate is, a big thing for guitar players, it'd be nice to make smaller pedals. And the one pedal that actually makes the most sense having in a smaller form factor is a tuner, because as long as you can see the display, you don't have any knobs or any control stuff. So having a small tuner really makes a lot of sense, because then you have more room for other pedals. So that's why we did Polytune Mini, which is just a tiny version of Polytune. So the same features, the same accuracy, the same amount of LEDs, the same, pretty much everything is the same, it's just smaller.
Despite the difference in size, it's all the same, yes?
Yeah,
all the same
there's
inside.
a couple of little differences. So first of all, it's so small, there's no room for a 9-volt battery. So it runs only off a power supply, no battery. And then we couldn't quite fit the same amount of inputs and outputs on here. So Polytune, the regular version, has a cascading 9-volt DC out, so you can power. If you have one wall wart, you can actually cascade the power to other pedals. There's no room for that on Polytune Mini, so just one in. And last but not least, there's only room for one button on here. So you can't switch between bass polyphonic and guitar polyphonic. So this is a polyphonic for guitar only. So it still works brilliant as a bass tuner, it's just chromatic. It doesn't do the polyphonic thing for bass players. So, but apart from that, they're exactly the same. The feature set, the accuracy, everything is exactly the same.
Okay, despite it's not your new product, it's a very successful one, so please tell us something about your Nova system.
Yeah, well, Nova system was our version of trying to actually take all the individual pedals that we've done for some time and kind of stuff it into one box that just did everything you need. So the idea is you buy a Nova system, you have a guitar and you have an amp with a clean sound or a crunch sound, and you just have everything you need. So it contains all the effects that you've seen in the pedals on the other side. So reverbs, delays, chorus, flanger, pretty much anything you can think of and need as a guitar player. And it also has a drive section, so it has built-in overdrive and
analog section, yes.
It's actually analog, but the cool thing is that when you have a multi-effect like this, you can do presets, right? So you can have, you can do different presets with sound. So you have one sound with loud delay, one sound with soft delay. And typically when you do that in a multi-effect processor and you have drive, it's digital drives. So you kind of simulate or emulate the way a real drive pedal would work. But we found a way to do digitally controlled analog drives. So this is an all analog overdrive, all analog distortion, but we use special digitally controlled pot meters inside the unit so that you can actually do presets with the analog drive.
And how many actual effects are there available in this unit?
Oh, good question. I think there's around 40 different ones. I never counted, but
So compared to your G-Lab, I mean your G system.
G system?
Yeah. How many?
There's a couple fewer. We removed a couple of things because G system is a flagship product. But what I found is that with this thing, it's kind of like the bread and butter effect. So it's what any guitar player would need. G system has some more esoteric weird stuff. But if you're, if it's just, I need cool delays, I need great chorus, I need reverb, I need a bit of compression, all that stuff is in there. And the cool thing is that it's super easy to operate. I find that a lot of times, when you start working with multi-effect processors, it's a little bit frustrating because you have to scroll through pages of stuff and you kind of, it takes a long time and it's not intuitive like with pedals. But with Nova system, we really tried to do something that's just super simple to use. So editing something is really easy. You just press the button that you want to edit. Let's say I want to edit the delay. I press that button and now I have access to the delay parameters. If I want to edit the chorus, I press the chorus button and I edit that. So it's really, really simple to use. And the setup is just great for guitar players because you have two different modes. One mode you have 3 presets and then you have access to some selected effects that you can punch in and out. So if you want to punch in some delay, you can do that still on the preset. If you want to add a little bit of boost to raise the level, you can do that. The other way to look at it is just like a bunch of simple stump boxes in one box. So when you do that, it's just like having a bunch of stump boxes. So you have a drive knob. This is the way it's set up now, so I can turn on the drive. I can turn on the compression. So just like I had an array of pedals in front of me. But you can still change presets. So if I wanted to change from one preset to another, I just press and hold the, let's say, preset number 2 button for a little while. I release that, and then I select it. I just got to get out of the, like this. I press and hold this, and now I can release it, and I switch to another preset. So this is actually kind of like, imagine you had 3 different pedal boards that you can kind of slide underneath your feet, so you can have different settings for the different effects depending on what you want to play.
So please tell us something briefly about your new Dreamscape pedal that was, created, collaborated with John Petrucci.
Yeah, I mean, and I wish I had one here, but they actually sold out so fast that we didn't even have any to bring to the show. We will be doing more, so it's not a limited product, but they basically flew out of the door. But the thing is, around 2 years ago, I started talking to John, and I found out that he's been using a TC products for a long time, 2290. M3000 reverb, stuff like that. But one of the things I didn't know that he was using was actually the original chorus flanger pedal. That's the first pedal we ever designed, and he used that on every single album back from the very first Dream Theater albums. But he couldn't use it live because the headroom inside the pedal isn't big enough for it to work in an amp effect loop. So he only used it in the studio, and he was kind of bummed out about that. So we talked about the possibility of doing something together, and right around that time we were starting to develop the tone print pedals. So then we started talking about doing some tone prints, and we hooked up with him in New York, November last year, so 1.5 years ago, sort of. And it was supposed to do one tone print, like a clean chorus tone print. And then we ended up having so much fun, and he had, liked it so much that he did 5 tone prints in total. And then we kind of talked about, he couldn't really bring 3 different pedals on tour with him just to get all those sounds. So we kind of started talking about the idea of actually taking all those sounds, so 2 chorus sounds, one for his clean, one for his crunch, 2 vibrato sounds, clean and crunch again, and 1 flanger sound, and putting that into one pedal. And then we kind of figured it'd be nice to get that kind of classic jet flanger sound as well, so then we did that together as well. So the John Petrucci Dreamscape pedal holds 6 of John's custom-tuned tone prints designed by him. So 2 chorus ones, 2 vibrato ones, and 2 flanger ones. And then on top of that, it also has an additional tone print slot, so you can load any tone print that you want to load of the chorus ones into the pedal. And it's really, really nice, made super high-end stuff, the best we could find, cool curly knobs and everything. Hopefully you guys can add a photo of it, so I'm just,
So when can we expect, the next production of those?
We're building them right now, so hopefully they should be in the stores again in a month from now or something like that. But you might be lucky to find some in the stores, but they fly out pretty fast, I have to say.
That means they are good, so great.
And yeah, it's shipping in Europe now. We'll start shipping in the States just around now. Actually, on Tuesday I'm flying to the States to go on a little signing tour with John, just to have a nice proper introduction of the pedal in the States as well. So yeah.
Thank you very much.